Welcome back, everybody, to Game 2 between Star Tales Rainbow and Gosu's T-Gun, I should say. I'm Senex,
And I'm Paul. And
and
and nothing. I'll take it. Sorry about that. Yeah, this is Paul, as you may know by now. And this map is actually going to be Devolution. This was created by Baron,
are you going to get
right?
it right this time, sir?
Created by Baron, and I think that he made this specifically to show off FRB. A really,
He
really
did.
fun map. I enjoy playing on this one, and we'll see what the players think about it. They did say something about it being a huge map. Wow. So we'll see what they do as far as strategies goes.
Yeah, Rainbow definitely does have some experience on this map. For those who don't know, each week in the FRB Grand Tournament, we specify that you have to start on one
Yeah.
map, after which the loser can pick what map you then play on. For week one, it was this map, Devolution. It was the very first pure FRB map ever created, so we thought it was a very good starting
Yeah.
point. And this week, it is Shakura's Plateau, the modified version that's been created by Baron. And in week one, we saw Rainbow really, really showcase his micro and drop skill on this map. He was literally like everywhere all the time. He
Yeah.
never stopped being in his opponent's face, and it was just amazing to watch what he did.
Well, that game against Puck, it was just so incredible and such a pleasing game to see as a Terran player just demolishing a late game Protoss. Like, you very rarely see a Terran actually able to come out with a victory against a late game toss. Unless it's like MKP or something. Like, I hardly ever see it, so really cool to see Rainbow do that now. It does look like he is getting his gas at a normal timing, and his barracks is going to be finished here pretty soon. So it's likely that he'll go for Reactor Hellions again. Otherwise, he might just do. I really don't know what else he would do with the gas, honestly. He might do like something Banshee-wise, but we'll see.
He could also go for very fast drops. Once again, we saw that he
Yeah,
was
that's true.
very, very confident in his drop play from the game one of the round of 16 that he played against Puck. Also, just real quick on a personal note, I want to encourage everybody to check out that game, not only because
Yeah.
it's totally sweet, but it has like 830 views or something, which means that it has like almost more views than everything else combined. And I would love to see an FRB game have more than 1,000 views. I think that would be totally awesome just for the idea in general.
Oh, it'd be totally boss. Just like a huge reminder that, this is actually getting out to people. Like, FRB is a ton of fun to play on, and I want the community to know what it is. So, if you guys could check out Senex's channel, it's youtube.com/wiseoldsenex. Senex, check out that game between Rainbow and Puck, and also check out the rest of his cast. He's an awesome caster!
Oh, well, I thank you. You should also be sure to subscribe to the channel that you are currently on, or if you're watching through Cybersports TV and being a total baller and supporting our sponsors, you should go to twitch.tv/pullsc and just subscribe there, and then very quickly go back to cybersports.tv because they
Yeah.
definitely deserve your support.
Yeah, most definitely. So back to the game a little bit. We do see Rainbow going ahead and getting that command center and finally getting a factory down. Now he's also building a tech lab on his rack, so he might even build a starport next to that racks, or he could be going for some kind of stim attack or combat shield, something like that. And I'm actually not really sure what our Terran player is going to do right here.
What I do think is very interesting is that he broke the wall in order to get that
Yeah.
tech lab. And while he doesn't really have anything to worry about, and he does actually have a small strike force moving in to just do a little bit of damage with these first two Marines and that one SCV, he does need to worry a little bit about perhaps a bit of a Zergling run-by or something. There is right now one Zergling moving past that will at least get good scouting information, though he is doing a lot of damage to that Queen, trying to do something to make sure that his opponent is at least scared, if not actually damaged.
Ooh, and it does look like that Zergling is going to try to get through the wall, but luckily Rainbow was able to make an engineering base, so his wall is going to be completed, although that Zergling can very well take out that SCB, yeah, and in fact he does do that, so getting a little bit of minor victory for our Zerg player, and yeah, it's just really cool to see that. Now we do see the starport being built on the tech lab, as I was saying, so we do also see an evolution chamber though being built for Zerg, so it might be effective, but honestly I think Spore Crawlers will be able to get out in time. Banshee's probably not going to do too much.
Yeah, I do think that GoSuTgun ran up to the front of that base, kind of looked around and said, "What are you spending
Yeah.
all of your money on?"
Yeah.
Basically, like, because I see that you have a factory, which means that you did some kind of tech-oriented play. This isn't just a ton of barracks, but I don't see any add-on on it, and it's not producing anything, which screams Banshee if
Yeah.
he is paying real attention. So, two Spore Crawlers are already on the way, and right now the cloaking field is being researched, but as you said, I don't think it's going to be particularly effective, but it might put enough pressure on T-Gun for Rainbow to safely take this expansion.
Yes, indeed, and something actually, just I want to kind of note about the building placement of our of our Terran player. I think it would be really cool to see Terran players kind of like typically going for a different wall-in structure than they do, because basically if you don't have like a racks and reactor factory, your opponent can kind of know what's going on. And actually, it looks like we lost Senix, so we're gonna try to get him back in this call. Skype is currently trying to reconnect. Oh man, just having so many internet difficulties this game, but I'm actually gonna continue casting until that call gets back going. It does look like our Zerg player is actually going for a third base right here, so he's continuing to macro up just a little bit. Of course, he already has Spore Callers. And are you back?
Yes, I am
Okay,
indeed back.
cool. Did you pause the game or are you still going?
I'm still going.
Okay, cool. So I'm still going as well, and I'll let you talk a little bit about what you've seen.
Alrighty. Am I garbled to you at all? You're very slightly garbled for me.
No, you sound pretty good to me.
Alrighty. Then, as we see, Rainbow has gotten some pretty good supply changes. He's right now only 10 supply behind his opponent, building a little bit of the wall in at the front, and is right now going for stim pack, though his opponent has an infestation pit that's almost finished, so any kind of mass marine play is definitely going to have to take that into account and really utilize a lot of splitting in order to defend against that kind of AoE damage.
And interesting enough, Rainbow actually did cancel his cloak right there. I don't know if you noticed that or not. He just decided that it wasn't going to be worth it. There's already Spore Crawlers, so he's not going to be able to actually do any additional damage with the cloak. Decided to get his resources back and continue to go for this bio-heavy composition. Now we do see Medivacs and Stem as well as the one attack for Rainbow, and it's very likely that he will be going for some kind of drop or just possibly try to take out the third base if he can. But actually, woo, did he lose? Man, he actually lost a Banshee right there.
Yeah, just a small mistake right there. He committed a little bit hard to trying to kill off one of those queens and did lose that one Banshee, though. An Overseer just flew through Rainbow's base and got perfect scouting information. Saw that the command center was coming up, saw the double pump of medevacs and a whole bunch of barracks that are right now just churning out Marines as fast as Rainbow can produce them. Though a small group of Zerglings trying to get in and do some damage to that front door.
Yes, indeed, but it does look like Rainbow's going to be able to hold on to his structures right there. The Zerglings aren't going to be able to headbutt them away anytime soon, and actually he does have his third base up, and morphing that into a orbital command will certainly be dropping it soon, but T-Gun actually knows that it's there, so our Zerg player doing an excellent job of scouting and having a general good game sense this match.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about that becoming an orbital because he's going to really have to work hard in order to defend it in that south location. There are definite paths for Zerglings to get in around through the destructible rocks, or even just with a quick run by through the main while Rainbow's occupied. And in fact, we see that GoSuTgun is going for the destructible rocks in the back of Rainbow's base. He really wants to try to at least make Rainbow think before he commits to a whole lot of drop aggression or just general move-outs.
Yes, indeed. So we do see Carapace and Attack being researched for our Zerg player, doing an excellent job keeping up in upgrades, and I think that is really the solution for handling heavy bio upgraded Marine units. Just getting
Right in the
equal
north, though,
upgrades.
there's a double drop that's dropping down right now, though there are a ton of Zerglings in place and a whole bunch of Infestors. That just gets immediately cleaned up. A really unfortunate attack for Rainbow. He's even going to lose that last medevac. Oh, not quite. Barely gets out of there. But he lost a ton of army right there trying to get in that aggression.
That was such a huge loss for Rainbow, and actually our Zerg player is going around for a counter attack and might be able to break down the wall, though if Rainbow pulls some SCVs to repair his building, he should be okay. And actually he's sending out 2 medevacs again with another drop. So if he had just gone for that fourth that was building, it would have done, plenty of damage. He wouldn't have lost the units that he did lose, but God, that was so unfortunate.
Yeah, he did manage to cancel that fourth, but actually as he landed his own third, just a small group of Zerglings running in to deny that. Because it's not a planetary, there's really not that much he can do without at least investing some units to deal with it. Though, as we look at the supply, Rainbow's managed to pull himself ahead, and he's actually even on Harvesters. So, with this drop harass, if he can get in and just do at least some damage, he might pull noticeably ahead of his opponent.
Yeah, Rainbow needs to do a lot of damage, and actually could very well deny this expansion that's being built on the right side of the map behind those rocks. But ooh, T-Gun has a lot of Zerglings, and I think that he knows what's going on. He should be able to see these medevacs, but Rainbow going into the main base and actually doing also another drop over at the third, losing that though to Fungal Gross, and oh, really unfortunate. But he's just doing the main base drop, and there are a ton of Zerglings here. I don't know if Rainbow's going to be able to hold on to these guys.
Yeah, he really needs to pick up and get out of there. That one Spore Crawler actually taking down the Medivacs, and
Whoa.
just a little bit of an unfortunate thing for him right there. Also, these are 2/2 Zerglings, so GoSuTgun's really been emphasizing his upgrades, and there's only 1/1 just being started. Well, actually, one attack about halfway done, but one armor just being started. Also, the Adrenal Gland's about halfway done. Melee attacks level 3 and ground carapace level 3, along with Burrow being upgraded for T-Gun.
God, T-Gun's macro this game is impeccable. He knows exactly what to go for against Rainbow. Now, Rainbow only has a handful of Marines and Marauders, and actually, really don't see any Medivacs. He may have one or two, and it does look like Zerg is coming in here for a huge attack. He is bringing his Infestors in here, gets one decent fungal growth, and most of his army is still alive, but I think these infested Terrans and Zerglings are going to be able to clear this up so easily. And Terran is looking really, really behind.
Yeah, unfortunately, I really think that decision to make an orbital command rather than a planetary fortress is coming back to bite him. He might have been able to hold on to that base with a mass repair and just how generally effective planetary fortresses are against Zerglings with that attack, though he is dropping the mineral-only base right now, so really trying to put the pressure on his opponent. Might actually kill it before all these Zerglings get back.
Ooh, yeah, it's very likely that he'll kill it, but actually a fungal growth goes off there against that drop, and Rainbow loses another drop. Man.
He is not finished, though. He's moving around the north with yet another drop, trying to get in and harass that third. And while his opponent is taking a definite tech advantage, Rainbow has been able to keep himself in the game with this constant harassment. It's only 106 supply against 135, so he's definitely not out of it. He just needs to not be losing these drops quite as often as he has been.
Right, yeah, exactly right. I think Rainbow needs to get in, do a little bit of damage, and lift off and go away. As we saw him do just now, he was able to take out a Spine Crawler, and immediately he did run away. That's probably what he should be doing this entire match, instead of losing those, which, I mean, there is a certain point where he can't help it if the fungal growth goes off, and he wasn't expecting it, but, yeah, we'll just see how it does play out. It does look like Rainbow is actually taking the decision to go for the far left base without any gas, and at least he'll be able to get some minerals from that. That's definitely going to be good for him.
Yeah, though if we look in the south, he has dropped a medevac right there full of units and is looking to do some kind of harassment of the mineral-only base of Rainbow. And actually, there's a drone moving down right there that wants to build a hatchery, which is going to be built and hopefully immediately canceled. Yeah, it was actually canceled before losing the drone. So Rainbow does now need to pull those units out of there. They've kind of done their duty in canceling that fourth base, or fifth base actually, but they're being totally overrun by Zerglings right now. He really needs to pick up. I don't know why he's just leaving them down there once it's clear they're overwhelmed.
Well, I think there's just so much going on this game. He's got so many different drops going on. He's kind of losing track of what's happening, and you know, it's just losing too many units. Let's actually look at the units lost at. It is currently 6,550 for our Terran play, which is about twice as many as what Zerg has lost. And it does look like T-Gun's actually going to go ahead and go for an attack rather. And he might actually just pull back, as he doesn't really have anything to break down buildings.
Yeah, T-Gun has not yet noticed the third base is there, but he's moving his units around to try to check for it. And really, one bunker with nothing in is not going to be able to hold against this incredible number of crackling 3-3 Adrenal Gland upgraded and a large group of infestors. We do see the 3-3 on the way for Rainbow. He also finished up a Ghost Academy a little while ago, but there's no Ghost currently on the field, and there's just nothing that all these SCVs are going to be able to do against that many extremely well upgraded Zerglings.
Yeah, and that, oh man, that expansion gets denied. So unfortunate for Rainbow. He really needs to do something. And oh, actually, I'm sorry, a huge drop up here at the third base, and he might be able to take out this third base. If he could do that, that would be so good for him right now. Of course, these Zerglings are coming up here. He does take out that base, does lift off, and he does survive with those units.
Yeah, he's able to sneak away with that double drop mostly intact. All the Zerglings that ran back just getting there a couple moments too late. He does have another drop just waiting for that base in the bottom right, and all of these units are still trying to deal with the double drop in the top left, so Rainbow might get another free snipe, killing a bunch of drones for T-Gun right now. When we look at the units tab, though, he's still very behind in the worker count.
Yeah, he's still behind, but if he can continue with this aggression and do it effectively, he will be okay. Of course, it does look like he does lose that drop there at that base at the bottom right, and actually he's doing another drop up in the main base, chooses to lift off. I like that decision from Rainbow. He wants to hold on to his units, as he should be doing with this drop style play.
Oh no, it's Fungal though, as those units are trying to escape Fungal in range of the Spore Crawler. He loses both of those medevacs.
Oh god, that is so unfortunate for a Rainbow, man. And at this point, I mean, he's gonna start running out of minerals, and his bases, his main base is almost out, and his natural is looking okay, but that's only because he doesn't have enough workers over there. And then, of course, the third base that he does have has plenty of minerals, but wow, he actually, how many workers does he have right now? He only has 29. Ooh.
There is a triple drop that's unloading right now, trying to take out this bottom right-hand base, though at the same time,
Oh.
all the cracklings once again running in and denying Rainbow's third. He's just had a hell of a time trying to take any bases beyond his first two, and all these units, while they're dealing pretty well with the Zerglings, are incredibly clumped up, and as those infestors get involved, the Fungal's doing terrible damage, to borrow a phrase from a well-known commentator.
Yes, indeed, and actually Rainbow getting some ghosts out here, and it really suck if he lost those, but actually was able to hold on. I'm very proud of Rainbow for holding on right there. That was looking like a really dangerous attack. Of course, this third base is going to be lifted off for the time being as the infestors are trying to take it down. We'll get cleaned up though.
Bottom right, though, Rainbow does manage to snipe that base, and indeed, because he held off so effectively, there were 130 Zerglings on the field before that kind of disastrous attack, when you get right down to it, for GoSuTgun, and now there's 20.
Wow, that was actually a really good snipe right there by Rainbow, managing to take out that base. Now, it does look like we have ultras, and in fact, 6 ultras are on the map, and I'm sure more ultras will be joining this army, but Rainbow has the composition that he needs to handle these. If he can get a lot more Marauders out here, and of course get some ghosts for the snipe, he might be able to deal with these Marauders, with these ultras effectively.
I have to say how funny I think it is that this factory, which has been floating over the rally points of GoSuTgun, finally being taken out. He just really didn't have any units that could target air, and eventually deciding, you know what, I'm sick and tired of giving perfect scouting to my opponent. He is also checking around very smartly with a Zergling in the bottom, has a nice little patrol path, making sure that none of those 3 bases are being taken by Rainbow, and has almost maxed out, taking the base in the top left-hand corner right now, taking the gas, and Rainbow is going to need to find something to do about this very intimidating force moving at him through the middle.
Yeah, Rainbow's army is kind of all over the place. Of course, he has his main his main army kind of protecting the third base. Nothing really at the front for now, and Ghosts, of course, being produced. We have 2 Ghosts in production and nothing else. I'm kind of surprised that Rainbow's not dumping his resources into more units right here. He's definitely not using all of his racks, but it does look like we have a huge attack coming here from our Zerg player with a ton of infestors as well as ulcers. Of course, Rainbow is actually able to scan that army and knows what's going on and moves his ghost up here to get a snipe off that poor infestor. Man, he got destroyed.
That was some very clever infestor play, though. He knew that the ghosts were going to be coming through, so he dropped a ton of infested Terrans to just stop them from physically being able to move through that location, even if they were cloaked.
Yeah, that was actually really smart by our Zerg player. Now, it does look like GoSuTgun has finally reached that 200-200 mark, and actually Rainbow over here, if you take a look at the bottom right, gonna take out some infestors as well as some Zerglings with a drop that has kind of just been chilling there, denying that expansion, and chooses to evacuate, as he definitely should do before more infestors get down there to fungal him again.
Yeah, and right now the Spire is on the way for GoSuTgun, so he's moving into Broodlord tech. He's also taking the double rich Vespine Geyser in kind of the center left-ish position in the north. That's a very risky base to try to hold, and Rainbow might be able to get in and really deal some damage to that because it's just in such a precarious position. But if T-Gun can hold it, and it'll pay dividends for him. There'll be so much money, particularly gas, available.
Now we do see a ton of Zerglings coming in here, and actually Rainbow being forced back just a little bit. I had a few units out there clearing up creep tumors, but oh my god, do you see how many banelings are being morphed right now?
27 banelings on the way right now, but even with that enormous morphin, it hasn't chewed almost at all into the incredible bank that T-Gun has been building up. He still has 1,600 gas at more than 4,000 minerals. So he's just going to be looking to trade armies and then remax on Broodlords. The Greater Spire is on the way with 7 Corruptors that are also being produced.
Yeah, so wow, this is looking really risky for Rainbow to even be on the map right now, but he has a ton of bio right here, and I really like his composition. Of course, if these banelings can get up here and get some huge hits off on Rainbow's army, it's going to be significantly weaker in this 200 army Zerg attack. Now, it does look like Rainbow is actually scanning just a little bit to see where Zerg is, and does he want to go for this engagement right here?
I think he needs to do something about those infestors. There's only one Overseer. If he can snipe it and just do anything to get the detection off the field. He'll be able to land the EMPs or snipes that he needs to deal with these infestors, because right now there's 15 of them with almost max energy right now on the field. And with that, almost any Bioforce is basically invalid. He has to get them off the field or out of energy.
You know, I'm actually really surprised that Zerg has not gone for an attack. I realize that he's waiting for his Greater Spire to finish and to get Broodlords, but I mean, he's had 200 almost for like so long, and look at his resources. He could easily replenish his army. I guess he just figures he won't be able to do enough damage if he were to attack. And actually, Rainbow moving up here with some cloaked units, getting some snipes off on those infestors. A decent EMP. Of course, the Overseer does spot those, and now we might have an engagement from our Zerg players. Some more really great EMPs, but the Banelings are going to be moving in here for the Spiral, fronted with those Ultras. I'm sorry, backed up with those Ultras, and oh, Rainbow's units just got so demolished right there. Ooh.
Yeah, Rainbow, that was a pretty cost-efficient trade for him. He didn't quite get all of the EMPs he needed, but it wasn't like an awful engagement for him. Though that actually was very unfortunate. A couple of Banelings rolling in right there that he really could not afford to let hit. But ultimately, T-Gun doesn't care about this army he has right now. In fact, it's hurting him. Right now, he has 7 Broodlords on the way, is getting a whole bunch more Zerglings just as a bit of a meat shield for them. And really, it's going to be when those Broodlords hit the field that Rainbow is going to have to work his magic or ultimately lose this game, perhaps.
Wow, and now Rainbow is moving up here to this expansion. Was actually able to take out quite a few investors right there. Of course, a ton of Zerglings and Queens are moving in here to surround this army, and Rainbow is going to lose that Bioforce. Ooh.
Yeah, and even more critically than the Bioforce, he's losing all of the Medivacs.
Yeah.
Medivacs are not cheap units whatsoever. And basically, every unit in his army before now had a personal healer. But now they really don't.
God.
It's only a couple of them left, and the Broodlords are moving into position to attack.
Yeah, these Broodlords are going to do terrible damage, as we stated earlier, against the basically non-existent army of Rainbow. He currently has 4 Marauders. Let's look at the units tab. 7 Marauders and 3 Marines, as well as 2 Medivacs. That's not going to be anywhere near enough to deal with what our Zerg player does have right now.
Yeah, even Foxer's Marines would not be able to deal with that many Broodlords, and it's an unfortunate GG from Rainbow.
Yes, that is going to be the end of the game, guys, and we will be moving on to the next series here pretty shortly. Alright, guys. So, Stenix, what did you think of that match?
I thought it was some very good play from both players, but T-Gun really kind of had Rainbow's numbers.
Yeah.
He was very focused on making sure that Rainbow is never allowed to have a third base at any point. And because Rainbow went for an orbital command rather than a planetary fortress, it actually worked. I really feel like if he'd had a planetary fortress instead, he might have been able to take and hold that bottom right base.
Yes, indeed. So, what is the match that we're going to be casting next, just to be sure?
The upcoming match is, in fact, GoSuVibe versus NRG Lucky Fool, another Zerg versus Terran.
Alright, guys, so stay tuned for that game. It's going to be Vibe versus Lucky Fool. Big shout out to T-Gun for advancing into the round of 4. Sorry, Rainbow, for losing. You're one of my favorites. He was definitely my pick to take the whole thing, but that's okay, and we will be back soon, guys.
One thing, actually, real quick before we go, I just want to mention, everybody should know that these games are really important, because if you make it to the round of 4, you're guaranteed money. The top 4 people who are in the FRB Grand Tournament all get at least some kind of prize pool. Obviously, first is much better than fourth. But everybody who does advance in this round gets at least some benefit, so all the players really need to have their A game on for these upcoming matches.
Alright, guys, we'll be back soon.